2025, Gunther vs. Pat McAfee, the fight that changed wrestling forever. 2025 has officially rewritten the rulebook on what it means to fight for honor, pride, and legacy. While championship bouts and high-stakes rivalries filled the card, there was one moment that eclipsed them all, a moment where the WWE Universe stood still. Not because of a title change, but because of a war that transcended gold, glory, and even the combatants themselves. Gunther vs. Pat McAfee was never supposed to be the highlight of this night, but when the final bell rang and the dust settled, the WWE Universe had witnessed one of the most physically commanding performances in recent memory. Not only had Gunther utterly dismantled Pat McAfee, but the chilling reaction from WWE legend The Undertaker left the entire wrestling world reeling. But how did it all begin? What led to this breathtaking clash? What made this fight more than just another match? To answer that, we need to go back to the night after WrestleMania 41, the beginning of a story that would shake the very foundation of professional wrestling. A tale of honor, betrayal, and unexpected rivalry. The prelude to chaos, Gunther's fallout from WrestleMania 41. WrestleMania 41 had just come to a close, and while many in the WWE Universe were still buzzing from the high-stakes matches, one man was far from satisfied. That man was Gunther, the ring general, the dominant intercontinental champion, a figure known for his ruthless aggression and near-impervious aura. But despite all the accolades, despite being one of the most feared competitors on the roster, Gunther faced a rare and crushing loss on the grandest stage. A loss, mind you, that would ignite a fire deep within him, one that could not be extinguished by mere words or time. Gunther, defeated but not broken, stewed in his frustration, the sting of WrestleMania's outcome pushing him further toward the edge. But unlike most who would simply stew in their own bitterness, Gunther was different. He didn't internalize it. He acted on it. The very next night on Monday Night Raw, Gunther came to the ring, the weight of his defeat still apparent on his face. But it wasn't the fans he was addressing, no, it was something far worse in his mind. It was the commentary team. Specifically, Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. The two had been vocal, as always, providing their expert commentary on the night's matches, including a critical breakdown of Gunther's performance at WrestleMania. And that, it seemed, was a step too far. Gunther had never been one to accept criticism easily, but this wasn't just about a loss, it was about his pride. And in the world of professional wrestling, pride is everything. The storm unleashed, Gunther's attack on Michael Cole. It started like any other segment, typical Raw fare. But when Gunther entered, it was clear something was different. His eyes were filled with rage, his fists clenched at his sides. He stormed to the announce table, fury radiating off of him. The tension was palpable. Fans could sense it before Gunther even uttered a word. With a vicious glare aimed at Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, Gunther spoke. His words were sharp, biting, directed at both men for daring to criticize his performance. To the casual observer, this might have seemed like just another rant from a wrestler upset over commentary. But to anyone who understood Gunther, this was something far deeper, this was the beginning of a war. Then it happened. Gunther's rage boiled over. In a move so shocking, so swift, it left the crowd in stunned silence, he grabbed Michael Cole by the collar of his shirt and yanked him from his seat. The commentators froze. The audience held their breath as Gunther dragged Cole away from the table, choking him in a horrifying display of power. It was chaos. The WWE security team rushed to the scene, trying desperately to break up the frenzied situation. Fans screamed in shock and disbelief as Gunther continued to rage, his anger turning into something primal, uncontrollable. But amidst the chaos, there was one figure who refused to sit idly by. Pat McAfee, the unlikely hero. The arena was in a frenzy. Gunther had made his point, and now the situation was spiraling out of control. Security was struggling to contain the wrath of the ring general. But just when it seemed like the situation would escalate into something far worse, someone did the unthinkable. Pat McAfee, a man who had made his name with charisma and flair, was not one to shy away from a challenge. And on that night, Pat did what almost no one else in the WWE Universe would have done: he stood up. He threw off his headset, stood tall, and stared down the fury of Gunther. For a moment, time stood still. The crowd was hushed, unsure of what to expect. Would McAfee back down? Would he walk away from a fight he couldn't win? Or would he stand firm against the storm that was Gunther? Then, in a flash, it all unfolded. Gunther, never one to back down from confrontation, delivered a brutal blow to McAfee, knocking him down in an instant. The WWE Universe collectively gasped, realizing that this was not just a feud, it was a war. And for the first time in a long time, Gunther's dominance seemed to be truly challenged. Gunther versus Pat McAfee, the battle for honor. What followed next was one of the most physical and intense encounters ever witnessed in WWE. Gunther, fueled by rage and frustration, unleashed a brutal assault on Pat McAfee that left fans gasping for air. Every punch, every slam, every kick was delivered with the intent to dismantle, not just to win, but to send a message. McAfee, despite being on the receiving end of this vicious onslaught, refused to back down. His resilience was undeniable, and though he was clearly outmatched in terms of size and strength, he continued to fight back, refusing to give Gunther the satisfaction of seeing him quit. This wasn't just a match, it was a war of pride. For Gunther, it was about proving that no amount of critique could break him. For McAfee, it was about standing up for the honor of commentary and the integrity of the WWE Universe. But as the battle raged on, it became clear who the true victor would be. Gunther, in a display of pure strength and brutality, finished off McAfee with a series of punishing moves that left the former commentator motionless in the center of the ring. The bell rang, signaling the end of the match, but the aftermath was just as important as the match itself. The Undertaker's chilling reaction, a moment that shook the wrestling world. As Gunther stood tall, his dominance undeniable, something unexpected happened, something that would send shockwaves throughout the entire wrestling world. From the shadows of the arena, a figure emerged. The unmistakable presence of WWE legend The Undertaker. His eyes, hidden beneath the brim of his hat, glinted with an eerie calmness as he surveyed the aftermath of the brutal battle. Gunther, still basking in his victory, locked eyes with The Undertaker. And in that moment, the air thickened with tension. The Undertaker, never one to make his presence felt without purpose, approached the ring. Fans held their breath, unsure of what was about to unfold. The Undertaker didn't speak a word. He didn't need to. His presence alone conveyed a message that sent chills down the spine of every person in that arena. There was no handshake. No nod of approval. Just a cold, silent acknowledgement between two of the most imposing figures in WWE history. And then, in a move that only added to the intrigue, The Undertaker turned and walked away, disappearing into the darkness from whence he came. But that fleeting moment, the shared look, the unsettling silence, was enough to send shockwaves throughout the entire wrestling world. The question on everyone's mind was simple: what did The Undertaker's reaction mean? Was Gunther about to embark on a new path, one that involved more than just championship gold? Was The Undertaker offering a warning, or perhaps a silent invitation to something far more sinister? The aftermath. What does this mean for WWE? Gunther's victory over Pat McAfee was more than just a match, it was a statement. A statement of power, pride, and the willingness to go to any lengths to protect one's legacy. But it was also a statement that left fans wondering what's next for Gunther. The Undertaker's chilling reaction only added fuel to the fire, leaving everyone wondering whether this was just the beginning of something far more dangerous. WWE's landscape has changed in ways no one could have predicted. Gunther has established himself as the undisputed force to be reckoned with, and with The Undertaker's unsettling reaction lingering in the air, there's no telling what could come next. One thing is for certain, this story is far from over, and the WWE Universe is watching, waiting for the next chapter to unfold. In the end, 2025 will be remembered as the year when honor, pride, and legacy collided in a way no one could have foreseen. Gunther's dominance, Pat McAfee's bravery, and The Undertaker's cryptic warning have set the stage for a new era in WWE. What happens next? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure, this isn't the last we've seen of Gunther, and it certainly won't be the last we've seen of The Undertaker's ominous presence. The war has only just begun. If you thought tonight's story was wild, trust me, what happens next will blow your mind. So don't stop now. Click on the video right here on your screen to continue the chaos, the drama, and the inside scoop only we deliver. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and join the Wrestling News CC family, where the real stories of WWE come to life. See you in the next one.